Are you a doctor trying to elevate your practice and make your impact on the world long lasting? Ready to go from a hustler to a CEO? Man, you already know. Welcome to the Michael Buffington Show, the podcast that's transforming the lives of doctors. You ready? Let's go.
Hey, I'm Michael Buffington, and welcome to the Michael Buffington Show. It's great to have you back today, and I'm going to jump right into this out of the gate. And that is, so I am in my fire suit, racing suit, for fire, in case you don't know. And I've got on my helmet. I've got on my Hans device. If you don't know what a Hans device is, right, it's a head and neck restraint system to keep your head from getting whipped too far forward or backward in an accident. I've got on my condom catheter. If you don't know what that is, you're going to have to Google it. I will not talk or discuss anything about it. Usually even saying the words together causes people to wrinkle their eyebrow or give you a little side eye, like, what are you even talking about? Because honestly, I didn't know it existed either, but it does. So here I am. I'm buckled in, 5-point harness, super tight as I can get it, racing seat around me, and I'm bolted in. And what am I bolted in? I'm bolted in a UTV, and I'm getting ready to start the Mint 400, which is what proved to be and is, in that case and in that class and that division, an 8.5-hour race that it took to complete it in the desert in this UTV. Happens in Nevada. And crazy enough, today, while I'm shooting this podcast and shooting this show for you, it is going on right now. I'm looking at my clock over here going, yep, there's somebody about the finish line right now. Somebody's about to win this thing, and I know how that is. But instead of the finish line, I'm going to talk to you about the starting line. So here we are, myself, and I'm the navigator in this car. So I'm watching the GPS, belt temps, water temps, oil temps, rear view mirror, calling the course off of GPS. So I'm watching, and I have the course in the GPS. I'm looking ahead, of course, but sometimes looking ahead is not enough, and I could maybe talk to that in just a moment. And then my driver is Michael Isom, who owns the team, Mobbin Racing. You could look it up if you want to see some cool videos and stuff, assuming they still have that on Facebook, which I'm pretty confident they would have that great content there back in the day. So Mobbin Racing, UTV, Can-Am, we're locked and loaded on the starting line, and boom, we take off. And the way that they take that race off is a little bit of a staggered start. It's a lot like a motocross start in the beginning, at least in this particular race, and I've raced other ones since. But in that race, we start, we're going over some whoops and doing our thing to kind of get you out. And then you're going to be out in the desert, and no one is going to see you, in our case, for roughly 2 or 3 hours, depending on the speed, depending on what problems we have and what we encounter. But we're not going to be anywhere. There are a couple different pit areas where a few people will be located along the course, but other than that, you're out there. You're in different terrains, in the mountains. You're not seeing your main pit crew or being anywhere near that start-finish line again. Now, this race boils down to the way the course used to be was 3 laps. Those 3 laps make up that 400 miles. So you can imagine, that's obviously, do the math there real quick on how many miles is 1 lap. So we're out there, and we start off, and I've been preparing for this race. I've been preparing, as much as you can mentally, but physically. And this was my first opportunity to be in this car. So I didn't know, I had raced in the past, a little bit of motocross, a little bit of short track racing. This is way different, and I don't know fully what to expect other than what Michael and I have talked about. And we take off from the line, and the first thing that I noticed was within seconds, I am getting this sharp pain in through my chest. And it's crazy rough, and I can't really describe that to you unless you've done it. Even with the shocks and the amount of travel in the shocks and everything in the car, it's always going to be extremely rough in certain areas, and this was that, and it was just reverberating through me, and I had this pain. I'm like, where is this coming from? And I'm thinking to myself, is this is going to be like an 8-hour day. I am screwed. This is not like, this is bugging me kind of pain. This is, I want to get out of this seat right now kind of pain. So I'm pushing back on the handrails up in front of me that I can reach by the GPS. And I'm kind of trying to push myself back and create a little bit of lift, a little decompression, because I have a couple compression fractures in my spine. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's where I'd broken a rib, in sports. Maybe it's this or that. We all have our injuries. And I'm like, all right, that's what it is. It's just, unhappy. It's just pissed off right now. And we continue on the race because I'm not about to think about getting out of the car. I'm thinking, how am I going to endure this for 8 hours? I'm not going to quit on Michael. I'm not going to quit on the race, but what am I going to have to take? So we continue, and, amazingly, thank God it kind of seemed to calm down, or I got used to it at some level, et cetera, et cetera. And you get a lot of adrenaline going because of the way the course is and the speed of the course, the rough area of the course. Plus, there's other people on the course. So people are trying to pass you, you're trying to pass them, and there's nowhere to run. Like when I say a course, it's not like you're on a track. You have about the width of the vehicle, and everything else is essentially out of bounds, and you may hit a small tree, you may hit a big rock, you may hit a cactus that's going to take the front end of the car off, you may hit whatever it is. So it's not the easiest to navigate, especially when you're trying to do it at speed. It is a race. And we went for, I'm going to say we're a couple hours in, and we're kind of settled in. You're in a rhythm. We may have even been through the first pit stop, where we were handed kind of some cold drinks, as far as through a straw. We're drinking out of Camelbacks. The only thing we had in 8 hours was sharing a couple protein bars that you could eat, in our helmets, in our masks, and still, still manage the car. So it's just one of those days. That's the way the race goes. That's what you do. We lost a couple tires in the first lap, which was challenging because you got to unhook my helmet hose and all the devices, get out, grab a tire off the back, jack the car, get it on, all this. And while competitors are going by and you're losing the time that you put down on the track prior to that. So that's where we started, and that's how that. And then I remember really, really clearly when we get nerfed. And if you don't know what getting nerfed is, it's when someone just runs into you, really. That's what we call it on the racetrack. And we're out there where no one's around. We would have made room for this car that was trying to come through had we known, but we didn't get any warning. They didn't hit their horn, which is like a siren. They didn't give us any kind of, hey, I'm here, get out of the way, or I'm going to nerf you. They just drilled us in the back. Now, at the time, we're probably running, it was pretty rough there. We're probably running 40 or 50 still miles an hour, which doesn't sound too fast, but with the terrain, you'd be shocked how fast that feels. And apparently they were running 5 or 10 miles an hour faster than us and hit us. And I just remember the Hans device catching my head. So everything snapped tight, and it stung. Like it stung down my arms. I'm like, yep, that's a stinger. That's why you see the guy run off the field on Sunday, when he gets one of those playing in the NFL or in college on Saturday. It's the same type of thing. But so this is what the race boils down to. And this really isn't about the race. This is just about how this race reminded me and really taught me some lessons. It's about one of the first things of why this whole experience was good for me, and I want to share with you is, man, doing new things is a good thing. Like I'd never done this. I'd raced some, but I'd never done this type of racing. I had never done it at this level, let alone done it at all. It's far from recreational. I mean, you can act like it's recreational, but when you roll up and you see the rigs and you see everybody there and you see the preparation on the vehicles and the cars, like, no, it's not simply recreational. These guys come to win, and you should expect that. Doing consistent things is a great thing. And I'm always a firm believer in that, in doing the consistent things that you need to do in life to get ahead, to stay ahead, to keep you moving and positive and making big impacts in the world. And then doing hard things is a must. Like doing hard things that challenge you is a must. This race was challenging. I was in good condition. I had been training my core especially hard. I'd been doing all the things that I knew to do to prepare myself for not having great hydration. My Camelback got stuck, in the first hour or two of the race. So I went like 5 hours without any fluid other than the 130 mile pit stop that we would get, so very limited. So that had its impacts to me physically. Not eating, you're not taking in calories, but you're burning a ton, even with a cool helmet and trying to keep you cool. It's desert, so many times it's hot. It's hot in your fire suit. It's hot in the car. Those things are all weighing on you, and they're weighing on you physically a little bit, but most importantly, they're weighing on you mentally and emotionally. That's where it comes into play the most. And so it really took me to this lesson that the whole thing, if I could boil it down for you today in a way that could be helpful to you in anything that you do, and that's prepare beyond what you expect. Now, I want to pause there for a second and just have you hear that again. Prepare for more than you expect. Now, I have a banner, and I've probably referenced it on other shows, that's at every event I've ever done, and it says, prepare before it's burning down around you. Because when the house is on fire is not the time to take care of it. So if you're somebody listening now and your house is, on fire, you better handle your stuff. Like, you've missed a little bit of the preparation game and now you're playing catch up. If your business is on fire, well, you probably should call me. But beyond that, don't wait to get to that point. That's what I'm saying. Don't wait until your life or your business is crumbling around you. I just did a podcast on delay. Like, don't delay decisions. Don't delay reaching out for help. Don't put those things off. And this is on the other side of that. Prepare yourself. In life, there's so many times that you may think you're prepared, but you don't know what to expect. That day when we came off the line, I thought I was prepared. I had been training, what I believed was sufficiently, and then some. Yet, as soon as the race was underway, I realized real quickly I had not prepared myself for what was going to be required. Now, I had done enough to get me through the day, and if I remember correctly, I want to believe that we finished third, which is an amazing run, especially losing a couple tires on the first lap. Beyond that, whatever we finished, and we competed in some other races. Michael is an amazing driver. He actually won that series, I think, a couple years in a row. After that, down the road, he raced that series for several years, and he no longer races it. But he was a tremendous fixture in the series and did an amazing job. And I had the luxury of sitting in that seat and doing my part for him and allowing him to do something that is not easy to do, especially for 8.5 hours. So it was an amazing thing. And he was prepared, right? You have to prepare. Now, he knew a little bit more what to expect, but if it were only that easy in life and business, as they say, when winter is coming, like, you don't know when that is coming. So you need to prepare at a higher level than what you think it takes. It goes back to minimum standards. If you prepare for the minimum standard of what is required, when that standard is, you're called upon to live it, to do it, it's not going to fit. I always use the Navy SEAL, their approach to a minimum standard. You don't know if they're not typically going to ask you to do the minimum standard at the beginning of the day when you're fresh. No, the minimum standard could be required 40 hours into some evolution that you're on. And that is a way different experience on what you're able to do at that time. And this is the same thing. So prepare for more than what you expect, and that'll set you up for success. And you can't wait for life or business to smack you in the face or punch you in the mouth and see what happens. So can you handle, I think this seems like a rhetorical question, but can you handle 8.5 hours in the desert? Can you handle 8.5 hours in the desert of your life? Because if you can't, then are you prepared for a level that would get you what you want? Because it's going to be more than what you have done to date. Now, some of you, when I say that, may not like to hear it. It may not resonate with you, or you may just be like, yeah, I don't really want to subscribe to that. From my viewpoint, this is not a negative thing. This is not a pessimistic thing. This is not a naysayer type of thing. This is not a hater type of thing. Actually, it's the opposite. It's because I care about you and I want the best for you. And what I do know in my time here on this planet, anytime that I thought that doing enough to just get by was going to get me where I wanted to go, I was just lying to myself. I was just lying to myself and making myself feel comfortable. And in that comfort, I created complacency. And complacency then led to an outcome that was not what I desired, was not what I signed up for, and it was not what it was going to take to get me where I want to go. So for you, where are you where are you continuing to prepare at a level that's not going to get you there, right? It's just a simple question, but I want you to answer that truthfully to yourself and go, man, if there's one area of my life, and I always use the framework of body, being, balance, and business, those 4 pillars matter in my life, and they have mattered to me since I was taught those, in my career. So one of those is going to stick out to you right now. Is your body, is it prepared? Is your health? Obviously, I care about health. I've been in healthcare for 29 years. Are you prepared to do what it takes and to live your life fully? Like, are you able to do that? What about spiritually, your being? Are you in a state that you feel good about that connection, or does that need leveling up? How about your balance, which is your family, which is far from balanced, by the way, but with your family, your kids, your spouse, are you taking care of things? Are you preparing, or are you waiting for it to be burning down around you? And then business, which seems like the most important always, and it's one of the reasons that I'm here. However, without the other ones, the business usually won't matter, or you could build a big business, and if the other 3 go by the wayside, you won't care, because you can't buy yourself preparedness. It doesn't work that way. So whatever it is, that would be my ask. Be real with yourself. Tell yourself what needs to happen. Don't delay, and begin preparing now. So if you were in a great season of life, fantastic. Enjoy it. Expect it to continue, but do not fall asleep to the reality that you must continue to prepare at a high level, because more will be expected of you. More will be demanded of you. 12:48, Luke 12:48, the event I have at Game Changer, 12:48, to whom much is given, much will be required. So take this message today for what it is worth to you, pass it along to a friend, re-listen, but commit yourself to preparing, starting today. Whenever you hear this, do something a little bit more than what you did before. And that's truly where the learning happens. It's where living fully happens. It's where leading boldly happens. And it is where your legacy will come from, no matter whether you like it or you don't. I hope today was valuable to you. I will see you next time.